Is this the year Jim Harbaugh finally gets it done at Michigan? Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, teaming up with SG1 Sports right here on the Big Ten channel to bring you Big Ten season opening previews. Michigan taking on Middle Tennessee at the Big House tonight on the Big Ten Network at 7:30. And, of course, our question off the top is not going to be answered for quite some time, certainly not this afternoon or later tonight in Ann Arbor when Michigan is a 34-point favorite, takes on the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee. But keep in mind, it was 12 years ago on opening weekend that Michigan was the victim of maybe the greatest upset in the history of college football, losing to Appalachian State, then an FCS school, on a blocked field goal 34-32 at the Big House. The shocker is the fifth-ranked team in the country. So Michigan fans who remember that probably cringe when thinking about being such an overwhelming favorite in any game and not taking any of these games for granted against Middle Tennessee in this case. All right. Quarterback Brent Stockstill, the son of the coach Rick, set just about every passing record in Middle Tennessee history, but he's gone. He's going to be replaced, and they're possibly going to go with two quarterbacks in this one. You've got Arthur O'Hara, the 2018 backup, and also Randall Johnson, big-bodied guy, tough, physical runner at quarterback. Three offensive linemen are gone, but they bring back tremendous depth at running back where Chat Mobley, Terrell West, and also Brad Anderson combined for just under 1,700 yards. So Middle Tennessee will probably want to play a little takeaway with an unproven quarterback and depth at running back. They do have their number one wide receiver coming back in Ty Lee. And here's a little footnote. Ty Lee is the leading current receiver in college football with 213 career catches. Defensively, Middle Tennessee is led by defensive coordinator Scott Schaefer. Not necessarily beholden by Michigan supporters who remember when Schaefer was the D coordinator at Michigan in 2008 and fielded maybe the worst defense in the history of Michigan football, giving up the most points per game, just under 30 in that 08 season under Rich Rodriguez when they went 3-9. Michigan, yes, going 3-9. They are led by safety Reed Blankenship, who led the team in tackles last year with 107. He's back. Now let's talk about the team that everyone's talking about around college football and its quest to one seed, Ohio State, and finally get to a Big Ten championship for the first time since 2004 and a first-ever college football playoff appearance. Michigan and its new offense under coordinator Josh Gattis. Typically, when there's a new offense in play, there's an adjustment period, and there certainly will be to a certain extent here, but we need to keep in mind that all the players that count in this, starting with Shea Patterson at quarterback, the running backs, certainly the wide receivers, when talking about talent like Tariq Black, Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, yes, they have to transition to a different offense at Michigan, but like Shea Patterson said during the offseason, this is the offense I grew up with beginning in 8th grade. A little bit more up-tempo. Really, the big difference is going to be no tight ends, no fullbacks, more wide receivers, more spacing, more 4 and 5 wide receiver sets, and Michigan trying to change tempos, spread people out, and going with more spread formations itself. The offensive line might be the best in the Big Ten. Wisconsin may have something to say about that, especially after its opening game effort against South Florida, but Michigan's right up there with everybody back. The running back position is going to be fascinating because they are depleted there. Chris Evans left the program. Of course, Karan Higdon is in camp with the Dallas Cowboys. The defense has been one of the best in the nation for the last several seasons. Imploded at the end of 2018 after being the number one rated defense in the country for 11 games against a lot of quality opponents. Nebraska, Adrian Martinez, Notre Dame, Penn State, and some other squads as well that did very well. Michigan just imploded the last two games of the season, gave up 103 points to Ohio State and Florida. Now, the Florida game, they missed a lot of guys that were sitting out, like Rashawn Gary, and also Devin Bush sat out of that game, and somebody else along the defensive side. But those guys are gone. They lose a ton of productivity on defense. They're well recruited on that side of the ball especially. So the reinforcements are just as highly rated, but I think the Michigan defense takes a step back. Again, it was the best defense in the country for 11 games last year. Whatever happened against Ohio State, they're going to have to rethink it come this November, but they've got a long ways to go. Carlo Kemp is a really good player. Khaleke Hudson takes over as captain. Josh Uche, 8 tackles for loss and 7 sacks. Another dependable linebacker who could break out to be a star. The defensive secondary is thin in numbers, but really good players, especially Lavert Hill, one of the best cornerbacks in the nation. Safety Josh Metellus, an all-Big Ten performer. And how about the incoming 5-star Dax Hill, who will probably see some significant playing time. I went back and checked out Middle Tennessee's efforts against Power 5 opponents. It's not been pretty for the most part. Last year, they lost to Georgia by 42, Vandy by 28, and Kentucky by 11. In 2017, they lost to Vandy by 32, lost to Minnesota by 31, but they beat Syracuse, the 10-win Syracuse team in 2018. The 2017 4-win Syracuse team lost to Middle Tennessee 30-23. It's Michigan, it's Middle Tennessee. Of course, this is all about the Wolverines trying to get that offense together, see if the defense can be just as good under Don Brown as they head toward more meaningful games. More Big Ten previews. Please check out the gamut that we've run here at SG1 Sports. I'm Mark Rogers. Please join me on my channel as well, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Keep it locked in here for more Big Ten coverage, and enjoy those Week 1 games.